Well, good morning. It's about 4:32, and everybody's sleeping except me and McCoy, which is outside. We're leaving Lake Fork Marina right now, headed to Santee Cooper. So I want to say a huge shout out to Lake Fork Marina. We rented this house here on the property. It's called the Gunter's House. And again, guys, if you come to Lake Fork, which you need to, obviously, for you saw why, stay at Lake Fork Marina. Good people, good tackle shop, good restaurant, everything you need right here. It's first class. What wasn't first class was my fishing. There's a lot to unpack on that. We'll talk about that on the way to Santee Cooper. Corey's ready to go. Morning. 16-hour drive to Santee Cooper for the second Bassmaster Open. I've fished 3 of them this year because we won the first one. And when you win the first one, you automatically get an invite qualification for the 2025, not this year, 25 Bassmasters Classic. So I'm fishing with a free golden ticket this year, which is awesome. What a blessing, you know, because the first 2 tournaments have not quite gone where I wanted them to go. And I think I'm more disappointed in the fact that there's 2 fantastic lakes that I didn't get to fish day 3 or day 4 on, because I mean, there's gonna be 10 people. Don't you think 10 is gonna get a century belt? 100% all 10 people, which is unbelievable. It's the best fishing I've ever seen as far as the amount of big ones being caught. And what's crazy is how tough the tournament felt like it was going to be based on practice. But anyways, we'll get into all that. We're going to get on the road. It's 4:50 now. And Santee Cooper, here we come. Okay. Oh my gosh. Dude. Yep, we're at Bass Pro. We have to go in there and get some stuff. So here's the deal. I've had some bad tournaments over the years. As a professional angler, you're gonna have them. I've fished like 200 events, okay? I've won 9. So it's pretty good odds, believe it or not. So I can't complain, but it still stings. Every time that I don't do well in a tournament, it stings. And I should be more consistent. Can I win every tournament? I know. But should I be getting a check every tournament? I feel like I should. Should I be making the cut every tournament? I feel like I should. So, again, they all sting separately, individually. They all, but this one, and we're going to talk about it again. I haven't really, it's right here in my throat, like literally want to just throw it up, of some things that I overlooked. There's some major lessons in this. This one stings. This one stings more than any of them lately, because I was on them, like literally on them. So now we got to go in here and stock up on some bandito bugs. I'm down to like a pack. So hopefully they have some. Bought a rod. I bought too much stuff. I don't know what the problem is here, but I needed bandito bugs. It's kind of ridiculous. I could have called and just have them shipped, but. And then the rods, for Santee, for skipping cypress trees, you really need a medium heavy. 7 foot or 7.3 medium heavy is probably the best option. You get a medium action rod. It's too light. I got my butt kicked a few years back. That's perfect right there, because I'm going to put like probably 12-pound leader on. Big giant bass coming out of the trees. All right, well, we're about 4 hours out at this point. McCoy drove for a little bit, and I drove for a little bit. I got through watching live just now, and I have to say, and I watch live all the time because it's awesome. But this one was tough. This one was really, really tough. Just bear with me a minute here. I'm gonna kind of dive in the deeper side of my thinking here. Maybe you'll get something out of it. Maybe it'll help you become a better fisherman. You know, it's a learning process. Even after 25 years of fishing these tournaments, the one thing I've learned is you've got to keep putting forth maximum effort. You have to work hard, but you have to think hard. Because if you work hard but not think hard, you'll work right over top of the fish. You'll work right past the bite. You won't notice the things you are supposed to notice. And that's what happened this week. I don't really have a good reason why. I think consciously for me, I have to remind myself that just getting up early and fishing hard doesn't win tournaments. It's what's right here and it's what's right here that wins tournaments. And I failed on that part of it this tournament. Partly the weather was a little janky. I mean, the wind was blowing. It was cold. It was just I don't know. It's not a good excuse for me, to be honest with you, but it was a little distracting. And I break down this event and I say, where did it go wrong? At what point did practice go in the wrong direction for me? Because I caught 24 pounds in the tournament on the bank the first day. And I thought I could catch that again on day 2. And obviously I didn't. I had 18 pounds. And the fishing was a lot tougher. The fish, it was kind of opposite. Like the fish, when it was cold, overcast, were up on the bank. And when it was warmer and more stable weather, the fish kind of left. So it was a little bit of a curveball on what the fish should have been doing. And you know, and I hear people talk about how some people said they had a great practice, and some people said they had a terrible practice. For me, practice was awful. You saw the practice video. I didn't catch many fish. I didn't really figure out anything. And I made a comment early in my practice in the video where I said, you know, I feel like I'm just throwing darts at a wall. And that was exactly what I was doing. And that's the wrong thing to do. Because I needed to take a step back and think for a minute. And think. Not just keep throwing darts at a wall to see if something works. But stop and actually think about what do I need to be doing? What is the best thing to be doing right now to win this tournament? And I don't know if I ever did that. I don't know if I ever really sat back and just really dissected my thoughts and really mapped out my game plan for practice. I just kind of took off, ran down the lake, and just fished what I felt. And that was not the right thing to do. I tried to find the offshore stuff. And I did. I put forth effort on scoping and looking offshore, and I never caught a big fish. And in a tournament, for me, a lot of times it's that moment when you finally catch a fish or two doing what you think you should be doing, especially good fish. It's an aha moment where you go, okay, and then you get real excited. And you're like, okay, and you lock in on it, and that's what is the difference of like figuring out and not figuring it out. Is that getting those bite or two. And I didn't get any bites doing it. I didn't catch any fish doing it. You know, I taught the Canterbury a few times through practice and Matt. And in our camp, we kind of all had the same report. Like it wasn't happening where we were. And that's another mistake. I put too much. I decided what I needed to do based on what my roommates were doing a little bit. And that's wrong, really. I think we should all just not think like that. Because obviously there is plenty of opportunities offshore to catch them like these guys have done the last 3 days so far. But the moment where it took me in the wrong direction was day 2 of practice, working my way up the lake, and I was scoping on this one big bar, an area that I thought there should be a school of fish there. By the way, looking at live now and seeing where everybody fished, I didn't see anybody fishing that. So for whatever reason, those fish never made it to that bar. But on paper, it looks like it should have a school of fish. I scoped around, caught a few crappie, saw some blobs, and like the other thing too, not to get off track, but those blobs that I did find, those big fish on trees, they never really react. I never caught any of them. Like a few of them would kind of look at my bait a little bit, but not a lot of them really didn't pay any much attention. So I kept chalking it up as, oh, that's catfish or carp, or they're just not bass. And if I could have just caught one or two of those jokers, and then it would have been like, dude, I've just got to go do this 5 times, and you can have these 30-pound bags. But I scoped into this creek, mid-lake, and I put forth a good hour and a half, and I trollemoted all around, looking around, wasn't happening. And I ventured into this one creek, the arm of this creek, where I had fished a long time ago with Mark Pack. There's some stumps out there in the middle, and I scoped around out there a little bit. And I saw some fish, but just, again, nothing happened. I don't know if I was still in the wrong jerkbait. I don't know what was going on. Just wasn't getting anything going. And I looked at the very back of this creek, and it necked down. There was a lot of grass on the banks. And I thought, man, that looks pretty good. Water kind of cleared up. I went back in there, and boom, there's fish on beds. There's like 5 fish on beds. Like a 4-pounder and a couple 3-pounders. And then on the way out, in the practice video, you'll see it. I catch a 5-pounder. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I called Canterbury, and I'm like, dude, I just found 5 or 6 beds. I think it's starting to happen. And I instantly just switched my gear to looking for beds. So I got on my map, sitting there, and I'm like, all right, the next creek over's got this kind of deal. So I run in there, and I don't find anything. And then I just started spending, I spend the whole rest of the day like running around looking for sight fish. And I found a few, but that just kind of took my eye off what I should have been doing, which is looking for more offshore stuff. One of the areas that I've always fished is down by the dam, and it's a specific spot, or area I should say, where I've caught my biggest bagget fork ever out of a 35-pound bag in a TBC tournament. And it's exactly where McKinney's leading the tournament. It's probably where he's going to win it. I mean, he didn't catch all his fish there, but he caught the bulk of his fish in this area. And I literally never practiced there. Literally never went there in the tournament, which is mind-boggling to me. But that was the day that I was actually heading that way. I let those sight fish take my eye off the prize, and I lost my focus on the offshore, and I went all in on the bank. And that was a mistake, obviously. And that's fine to invest time into something like that. But I went to 2 or 3 creeks after that and didn't really find a whole lot. So I should have just went back to just looking offshore. Or I should have said, look, I didn't finish looking offshore. I need to do that the next day. And I didn't. So I never went down and checked that area. And of course, that's where Trey's probably going to win the tournament. And it's an area that I've caught a lot of fish on. It would have been, I would have felt really good about fishing that area. And my gut, before we even went to this tournament, said that area of the lake is going to be the last group of fish to spawn. It's going to be the coldest water. They're going to be the most pre-spawn in the whole lake, and it should have the biggest opportunity for offshore scoping. And it didn't fool with it. The other thing I messed up on is when I found fish on day 3 in the back of this pocket, I fished to these cedar trees, and I literally called Canterbury, because it reminded me of Beaver Lake. These cedar trees are beautiful, and a lot of branches and stuff. Just kind of a unique looking spot. And I was on the phone with Canterbury, and I said, dude, this looks like Beaver Lake. And I'm trolling around in there, and I'm looking around, and it's flipping a jig around, and I was on the phone, not paying attention, just, not doing what I should be doing. And I pull up to the corner of this dock, and I see several blobs, and I'm on the phone with him. I'm like, dude, there's big marks right here. And I throw my jerkbait over there, and I twitch it around, and they kind of like looked at it a little bit, but then swam away. And again, I was just like, what the heck what is this? Like, it was just strange. Nothing bit. Like, one fish bites in there, and the whole thing changes. Because that area that I'm talking about, that exact little spot, little 1 acre corner, and I caught all my fish to 24 pounds behind that 300 yards away, happens to be the exact spot that Tyler Rivette is fishing. So in practice, I literally fished through that area, saw fish, but didn't put two and two together, was distracted on the phone. All these things are learning experiences, right? I need to approach these tournaments with a different focus. And I fished right over them. And I wasn't thinking, I wasn't thinking. I was working hard, but not thinking. Went right over top of him. And he's going to possibly win the tournament there. He's catching 30 pounds. He's catching over 30 pounds a day. I was, again, 300 yards away, day one and day two, in the back of the pocket. Those fish that he's catching were the pre-spawners that were set up to come to where I was fishing. Because I was catching the 4-pound and 5-pound males. That's where I was catching my fish, 24 pounds and the 18 pounds. All those fish he was catching were the ones coming to me, but they were right behind me. And in fishing, you know, there's etiquette. And, you know, dude, it was tough. I practiced on that exact spot in Tyler, but I didn't catch any fish there. It wasn't part of my game plan. And to know that he was catching all those fish there and literally trolling the motor by and wave at him and say good job and not fishing there was not necessarily tough, because that's just what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to fish there. It's just the way it is. But, man, it was painful. I'm going to be honest with you. It was painful. It was frustrating personally for me to sit there and go, dude, what happened with my head and my brain and my focus that I missed that? How can I trolling motor over that? You know, and just that happened a couple times. There's a couple other things that, I don't want to bore you with that, but a couple other missed opportunities as well on places that I fished that I didn't quite put two and two together the right way. So honestly, this was a big wake-up call for me and a big learning experience for me, even though I've done this for 25 years. It's not all about working hard. It's about thinking hard and praying hard. You hear me talk about that a lot. I need to pray that I stay focused. I need to pray that I stay in tune with my thoughts and game plan. And that's where I take away from this event. You know, hopefully that helps you in some way be a better angler, because honestly, that's what it's about. That's the truth right there. That's 100% facts and truth. That's some tournaments you just miss it totally. You're not even in the same realm. This one stings. When you're trolling the motor through the areas and you make your mind up before the tournament starts, this is probably where I need to fish. And I don't do those things, and that's where it's going down. And I sure would have loved to have been in the mix on that one, but we're not. So I've got a 24-hour rule where it's painful. I'm not happy about it. It's just part of the game. But we're going to get to Santee here in about 3 hours. We'll get the boat on charge, get some rods rigged up, and get out there tomorrow and clean slate. And I've already got my mind on some things. And I'm going to look at the map here in more detail. And I'm going to map out my plan for the next 3 days. It's not going to be throwing darts against the wall. I'm not going to just blast off in the morning not knowing which way to go. I'm going to make a plan to say I'm going to do this, 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 and this, and evaluate and think through the process. And we'll see how this tournament goes. It's a good tournament. It's a big fish tournament. It's going to take a lot of weight to win. And I need to make up some, not points, obviously. I need to make up some ground. I left a lot. This Texas run was not the way I wanted to start. So it'd be nice to finish off the 21 days straight, by the way. Finish off strong. That's what we got to do. So a few more hours and we'll get to the Clarendon Club and get set up for the night.
What's that?
Yeah, this is the spot here. But if you can put 4 boats in here, so if I pull forward, and my boat's here, then someone backs into this one, and then you do the same on that side, you can put 4 boats. That'll work. You can sit out here at night and tackle.
Why do you suck so bad?
Pounds and
catch 43. Catch 43, nope. Make a check.
Yeah, I know.
I had you on my fantasy team, by the way.
So,
Thanks for sucking so
myself
bad.
on the fantasy team too. Dude, that was ridiculous. I don't even know how to put it into words. Like, the stories are just unbelievable.
I mean, what Matt and I were talking about, there'll be 10 century belts.
If there was, if the top 30 went tomorrow, if that was the case, 20 would go down.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
There were 21 guys that would have had a century belt if they fished tomorrow.
The only problem with catching that big, it skews reality. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, it's pretty impressive.
no, I know, but like, but no, when someone goes to a lake in a month or two and they catch these 20-pound bags, people are gonna be, the general fans are gonna be like, that really don't follow the sport, are gonna be like, yeah, I mean that's terrible. What's wrong with those people? Why can't those guys? What's wrong with these guys? They suck now. They don't even know.
To Sabine next week.
Correct. Like when we go to Smith Lake in June, and we catch like 11 pounds is leading the tournament after day 1, and they're gonna be like, huh? Yeah. The fans are gonna be like, they're not gonna get it.
He fished it. He saw 72 underneath that shade over there.
Well, I hooked yourself 3 times.
Yeah, no, I had to do the line trick on myself twice, both on my thumb and my little toe, in about an hour span.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a good time.
How many beers were you
By
in?
yourself? You did it yourself?
He was 6 beers in.
He's 6
yeah.
beers in. He's 6 beers in.
I stepped on a jerk. I pulled one out of my thumb, and then I stepped on a jerk bait like half an hour later.
I heard a story years ago, and I don't know who it was, but they were talking about being like it was like Berber carpet, and I guess there were some hooks or like a lure or something there, and they were walking through in the middle of the night, and they stepped on it, like squarely stepped on it, and it hooked in the bottom of their foot, and it's in the carpet, and they're stuck, and it's in the middle of the night, and they're like, I want to say maybe they were even by themselves or something. Like it was like horrific. Like they had to wait for a long time, and they couldn't move. Like there's no phone in your hand. Like you're stuck to the carpet, and you can't get it out.
You know what my biggest fear is? Sitting on a treble hook, and it goes into the boat seat, and then it's stuck in your butt, and then you're stuck on the seat. Like, what would be the game plan there?
So I kind of had a similar situation, but it wasn't on my butt, it was in my calf.
Yeah.
I had one that I always kept baits like right there where my step was, and I had a jerk bait wrap up under behind my knee, and I didn't realize it. And I like sat down real fast, and as soon as I sat down, the hook drove into my calf, and it was hooked into the seat at the same time, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I finally just ripped my leg down and ripped the hook out of my leg. And yeah, it was bad though. Like, it was gross. I mean, like blood was coming all around my calf and stuff. Terrible. But I can't imagine on your butt though, because I bet that would hurt so bad.
The only bad one I ever had was at Lake of the Ozarks with the whopper plopper. Set the hook. It came and stuck between my flip flop, the big toe, and the next toe. It was just stuck right there. And I was sitting there, I was like going, how am I going to get this out? How am I going to get this out? The boat of guys coming by, and they're like, man, you okay? I'm like, I'm all right, man. I said, got a hook in my foot. Guy's like, oh, I can get it out. Just jumps off the boat. Like, jumps off the boat into the water. And he gets down, he looks at my toe, and he goes, oh, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. So I had to cut my flip flop and do this, get the line out and freaking pull it out
Just
myself.
note to self though, don't ever let, and I'll repeat, don't ever let Scott do the line trick on you.
Why is that?
Because he tried to do it on me at Sam Rayburn.
Yeah.
And
did it come out?
Yeah, the third try.
Yeah, because you didn't hold your thumb down. No, you didn't hold your finger down. First of all, we were like this, and so when I yanked it, your finger curled out. That's not going to work. So that was like, that's a bad idea. So then we put it like you had to hold your finger down, and then it finally came out. But
I was so
Was
bad.
he tough about it?
yeah, but it was bad because we put it down like that, and I was like, "Are you ready?" And when it just rolled his finger back.
Dude, it hurt.
And I'm like,
bad.
"Oh my god!"
He had to put a flipping hook through my thumbnail last week.
Oh yeah, I had to drain
And
this
I was
thing.
Y'all are killing me with this stuff.
See, look at that thumbnail.
He smashed it in his jack plate, and so I had to jerk.
I was trying to take my jack plate on the. They did put like a governor on it, so it doesn't go up. So I still have for a year and a half. I've had the wood block, and I accidentally hit down when my thumb was behind it. So I literally like smashed it, and then it turned black. And Andrew was like, "Oh, we gotta pop that."
You get a hot hook.
So they tried like Frank had the needles, and the needles didn't work.
Okay. I'm not doing that.
So then Andrew went and got a 5/0 flipping hook and stuck it in there, and it worked.
Yeah.
But I was not tough about it.
I got video. He was not tough about it.
I thought he was gonna pass out. Honestly, I thought
my co-angler in the Forestwood Cup at Lanier. I was in the finals, and it was my marshal. Well, I guess he wasn't a co-angler; he was just a marshal. He was just sitting there, and he got his hand stuck in my big swim bait, and I'm like, all right, I can get it out. And he was sitting there. Everything was pretty normal. And I was like, I need to get this hook off the split ring first because there's all these other hooks. If I yank it, it's going to slam into your hand in a weird way and you get more of them. So I get side cutters. I had to borrow some side cutters from like a boat watching me fish. And so doing all this, the guy got all worked up over it, I guess. And I got the thing off finally. It was kind of hurting him getting the hook off, or the split ring off. He finally got it off. And then, dude, he just passed out. But I thought he died because he started exhaling. He started exhaling like air.
Did he just die?
He went, and dude, he was all hunched over, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was getting ready to yank it at the time, so I just went ahead and yanked it out. And I'm like, surely he's passed out. But then he was just kept gurgling, and I was like, maybe he had a heart attack. Like, holy crap. So I'm like, dude, are you okay? I'll wake him up. Finally, he wakes up, He never stood up the rest of the day. He just sat there like white as a sheet, man, just freaked out. But it came out. He didn't even know it was out. Like for like 10 minutes, he was just sitting there like in shock. But I thought he was dead. I thought he was dying, dude. I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be happening.
Do I keep fishing or what?
Yeah, right.
What do I do here?
All right, guys. So tomorrow morning we're gonna get up early. Santee Cooper, here we come. I like this lake. It's fits my style pretty well. It's a lot of like the same stuff we've been doing. These boys are wide open, but I'm gonna finish getting this tackle rigged up. Get wacky worms, get some chatterbaits, all my stuff geared up for tomorrow. Hit it hard. Hopefully you enjoyed this travel vlog. I know there wasn't a whole lot of crazy stuff going on, but hopefully that little bit of fishing tip and kind of mental preparation side of things kind of helps you a little bit in some of your fishing or just in life in general. So appreciate all the support, guys, and like always, like, subscribe, drop some comments down below, and also check out our merch site. We've got some cool stuff. Love for you to support the brand. We'll see you guys. Good night.
Boom!